So born in Panama City to a Jamaican mom and a Panamanian dad, Mayor Mizrachi Matalon is the mayor of Panama City with a strong Jewish-Jamaican heritage. He joins us by Zoom for this week's edition of Diaspora Check-In. Good morning, Mayor. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Well, you answered my first question before I even ask it, because you answered it before we came on air. I was going to ask you if you speak Patois, but I think I get the answer already.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I had a very strong Jamaican upbringing, despite the fact I grew up in Panama. I would go to Jamaica various times a year, and it's still very close to my heart.
Yeah. What was that like, though? With a Panamanian dad, a Jamaican mom, what was that like?
Well, it was heavily Jamaican, I have to say, because first of all, my father met my mother in Jamaica, and I think it was one of the biggest prerequisites is that we maintain a very strong Jamaican root. So I would go to Jamaica on every holiday, at least 4 times a year. And I was very close to my cousins. So all my family of my age is actually on the Jamaican side, not on the Panamanian side. So I have to say that despite the Panamanian upbringing, Jamaica is part of me the same way as Panama.
Okay. I don't know if you had a choice, but if you had a choice, where would you live?
Well, I definitely don't have a choice right now.
Well, you have a choice no, but as a youngster, I don't know if you had a choice then. But
there was a time as a young boy, about 15 or 14, that I begged my mom to take us to live to Jamaica. I really wanted to live in Jamaica, and I was very close to my grandfather, Maya, who lived in Jamaica, and I wanted to live with him. As a child, I wanted to live with him. I remember one time I hid inside his suitcase as he was traveling back to Jamaica from Panama.
The people who vote for you know you were like this as a little boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yo, listen. You know what's the hardest part? When Jamaica plays Panama.
Who you cheer for?
Yeah, I have a Jamaica jersey and a Panama jersey, and I cut it in half and sewed them. I never lose. I never lose that much.
Fantastic. You're the mayor now, but you were in tech. So how you go from that to... you're a politician, you're a diplomat, what do I call you?
Well, I would hate to be called a politician. I generally, to be honest, I don't see myself a politician. I don't like politicians either. Probably that's the only reason why I got into this. Because we're all subject to politicians' decisions. And I didn't really like the way they were making decisions in my country. So I actually became a social media personality. And I was very explicit and opinionated about politics. And there was no way they could buy my opinion. So that credibility became political capital. And one day to the next, I just threw my hat in the race in a very disruptive way, because I did not subscribe to a political party. And despite no political background or platform or infrastructure, with the lowest budget in history, we won a campaign for the second most important role up for election, the first after the president. The interesting part is we didn't do a single bit of paid advertising in our campaign. So instead of putting a billboard on a street, right, and promising people I would fix this pothole, I would actually just take $80 and fix the pothole myself. And that was the best publicity you could make, is actions, not words or promises. So it made a difference. It really did make a difference.
Do you think that's why you won? Because of the way you behaved?
Yeah, and I have to, what's surprising to me is that I find that public service is an open book exam. You can copy the one next to you, and you can, you can't lose. If you see someone succeeding and doing well, you can just copy, ask for the answers, or just imitate what they do. But they don't. Politicians tend to be very egocentric. In fact, they hate to think that they're not being original.
Yeah.
So they don't imitate, even though the way we do things is kind of working out.
Yeah. You recently met with the biggest politician in Jamaica, our Prime Minister.
Yeah.
What was that? Did you tell him that you don't like politicians? Joking, but what was that like?
No, it was actually quite nice. I very much enjoyed our conversation. Prime Minister Holness was, you know what, I do have to say, I know Jamaica has its own quarrels within itself, but the way Jamaica projects itself in diplomacy is very well regarded, especially here in Panama. And the way Holness and his team projected themselves here in Panama left a very good impression. I personally committed to Holness that I wanted to find a way to strengthen bonds between Panama and Jamaica. And I find it imperative as a Jamaican that I find ways to strengthen economic ties between Panama and Jamaica, to consolidate these two heritages that I share, so that not just Panama shines and grows, but I want to see Jamaica grow too. Yeah. I want to see Jamaica prosper.
Yeah. Are there things that you want to do that has not been done between Jamaica and Panama? Is there anything that you're coming up with and say, well, we haven't done this yet, but Prime Minister, I would like us to go down this path? Anything?
Yeah, well, I propose that we do a Caribbean summit for tourism. Now, remember one thing about Panama. Its north coast is all Caribbean, right? So, in fact, there's an area in Panama called Bocas del Toro. You go there, and it's all patois they speak, you know. So I told Holness that I would love to see us develop with the Ministry of Commerce and Tourism a summit where Panama and Jamaica spearhead the future of tourism in the Caribbean and Central America region, and let Jamaica be a gateway to Latin America through its relationship with Panama.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest challenges has always been the language, right? Because there's Dominican Republic in the Caribbean. So because of the language barrier, I would say Jamaica has always gravitated towards the US and England. But you look at the distance between England and Jamaica, right? It makes all the sense in the world to just strengthen ties with Panama.
Yep. The boring company, I'm afraid to ask you because I don't trust you. Where did that come from?
Yeah. No, it's actually, the boring company is not, it's
boring.
A pun by, no man, it is a pun by Elon Musk. It's one of his companies that makes tunnels. And actually, Panama recently got pre-selected as one of its 15 finalists for a free tunnel under a mile long by the Boring Company. So I proposed a pedestrian tunnel as a tourist attraction under the canal, less than a mile long. And we got pre-selected. It was a month ago. The only country outside the US that got pre-selected out of over 500 ideas that were proposed. And I actually just went to Houston, to Texas to go see them. And in fact, this week we should get the final decision. The idea is that, first of all, most people don't know this, but there is no pedestrian crossing across the continent in the canal. But there is none. You can only cross it through boat or through car on a bridge, but you can't walk it. So I propose to make a tourist attraction telling the story of the building of the canal within the tunnel with screens and sound and whatnot. Okay. And believe it or not, Jamaica is closely related to that story because a lot of the people that came to build the canal came from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And in fact, my grandfather, Mayo, his first job was as an employee in the Panama Canal back in the 40s.
I'm very impressed, sir. Mucho gusto.
Un placer. Very nice to meet you, man.
Take care. He's the
Take care, man.
of Panama City, Mizrachi Matalon. That's it for our diaspora check-in. When we come back, giving back and plugging the brain drain. Soon come.